The following is a YouTube-based audio production, brought to you by J.E. Realize. On my own, here we go! There's been a bit of a theme in some of my 10 movies videos. I forgot what the first 3's themes were, but for the 4th, it's all about kids' movies. Yay! No one cares. They're all gonna call me a stunted man-child. Well, screw it! Let's do it! Toy Story 4. Befitting given this is 10 movies for, even have the same amount of syllables. Mostly I want to watch this because of completionist value. I watched the first 3 Toy Story movies, so this 4th movie is sticking out like a sore spork. Then again, will it be worth watching? Charlotte's Web, the 2007 version. If you thought Disney pioneered converting animated films to live action, well, for background, I read the book and seen the animated movie, not necessarily in that order, and even seen the cursed direct-to-DVD sequel movie. Then came early 2007, but as a kid, I wasn't thinking straight and didn't choose to see this movie. I don't know if I would like it, but come to think of it, it would serve well to compare when Disney converts animated films to live action, and when someone else, in this case Paramount, does the same thing. How does the craft differ? Who does it better? The Maze Runner, and Scorch Trials, and Death Cure? Why wasn't I told about this? Time for some cheating. Besides the obvious, adding extra entrants in the same spot, this series is targeted for a slightly older audience. But seriously, after Harry Potter got movie adaptations, I noticed a lot more movie adaptations coming out. Twilight, The Hunger Games, Percy Jackson, Maximum Ride, this is on the list. But can you believe I only heard about the first 2 movies until I made this list when I looked up information and found out a full-length 3rd movie came and went without me even knowing it existed? No, I can't stand this, that's it. First thing after I get vaccinated, I'm checking out the book series from the library to prepare myself. This travesty cannot be let any longer. Artemis Fowl. Speaking of movie adaptations of book series, I know absolutely nothing about this series, and I still want to see what's up for Disney to say yes to a film version. Enough said. Moving on. A Wrinkle in Time. I said enough said, Disney. I said moving on. Moving on from you. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. I remember hearing about this movie in the early 2000s, and for the longest time, I mistook this movie as launching in the early 2000s. After all, kids' meal toys based on the movie were coming out from Wendy's. How could it not be from that year? I honestly did not find any conflict from this until I researched the North American video game crash of 1983, and one of the contributing factors was on the release of the E.T. video game. Wait, what? No, the video game was not standalone. It wasn't based on a book or even a different movie. It was based on the same movie I remembered having come out in the early 2000s. That's some Mandela effect stuff for you. Turns out what I remembered was the 20th anniversary re-release, which is strange to me because I don't really remember anyone doing anything like this on such a level. TLDR, I haven't watched the film, and it was a lot older than I thought it was. Night at the Museum 3. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of movie series I have yet to watch the final installment to get the full knowledge of the series. Instead of rambling on about, let's say, Despicable Me 3, I decided to focus on this one. I watched the first one, that's a story in itself. I watched the second one eventually. I have yet to cross paths with the third one, but London. Wow. This reminds me of how globe-trotting the Madagascar series was, though I finally got around to Madagascar 3 only last year. How big is this movie that it doesn't require a 4th installment? What are the stakes? Are we going to see museum exhibits come to life around the world? Because the title of this movie alone makes me feel the movie will seem rather lackadaisical compared to the previous 2. I feel the same way about Madagascar 3, and oh boy, was I right. To sum it up, I'll watch Night at the Museum 3 only for completionism. I just need to wait for it to appear on cable. MVP 2, Most Vertical Primate. Or MVP, Most Vertical Primate. I remember hearing about this movie from the various trailers shoved into various VHS movies, but as a kid, I also heard there was an MVP 1 movie, and I got my thought process mixed up that MVP 2 is a re-release of MVP 1. Nope. A quick Google search set me straight. Just some confusing marketing on the producer's part. Some trailers include the number 2, and some leave it out. Also, another quick Google search suggests this is a spin-off of the Air Bud series. Well, that explains a lot. And no, I don't have any Air Bud entries on this list. Nothing interesting to remember about it. Peter Pan. What? Really? No. Oh, but yes! I was introduced to a multitude of Disney movies from when I first started watching Toon Disney in 2003 until its death in 2009, through their weekday afternoon movie segment. However, when I try to remember such movies I watched through there, while I did watch quite a few originals, I also seem to remember more the sequels to movies rather than the movies themselves, like Cinderella 3, The Lion King 1.5, The Jungle Book 2. In Peter Pan's case, I remember Return to Neverland very well, but I can't remember a thing about the original movie. I can infer some things from outside sources, such as Taylor Swift's song Cardigan, but I just don't remember much. And this is the case for many other movies that later got sequels. I was shown the sequels through Toon Disney, but hardly would I watch the original content. Well, glad that dumpster fire's over. Too bad I took Jetix with it. The Flat Stanley movie. Don't think I don't know, there's a Flat Stanley movie in the works. A few years back, I heard Fox bought the film rights to the acclaimed book series, but then Disney showed up, and everything changed. I honestly don't know how the movie would work anyway. The book, when broken down for study, doesn't have much substance to it. It's just, guy gets flat, gets into some misadventures, and gets unflat, and could be boiled down to maybe 30 minutes at best. Even if you shoved in the events of Stanley flat again, yes, he doesn't get flat just the once. The way the books were written just don't make for cohesive film storytelling. As such, I have a bad feeling about this movie if it ever gets made. Serious revisions have to be made, and even then, I may just be too attached to what I remember as a child to enjoy what's presented to me in the near future. Well, that's it for me. Normally I'd say do the feedback thing, but I figure so many people are going to dislike this video anyway based on the premise of a man talking about movies he missed out on as a kid. But you can also like, comment, subscribe if you prefer. Follow me on Twitter at JERealize. This has been JERealize. I'll see you next time, and there will be a next time. This concludes our YouTube-based audio production. I hope you enjoy, and I wish you farewell.